Now to a KXLY4 special report, a project we hope you can learn from and help your family. We don't stop often enough to recognize the amazing accomplishments of local students, and we clearly don't try hard enough to learn from them. Well, this week, we changed that. KXLY4 gathered 22 students nominated by their school as the best and brightest. It's our own think tank to help other parents and students learn from their experience and hopefully enter a path to academic success. KXLY4's Melissa Luck kicks off our special report. And Melissa, a lot to learn.
Yeah, Nadine, there's no cookie cutter formula, no roadmap to becoming valedictorian. But talking to these graduating seniors, there are definite common denominators. Lessons learned from the head of the class. From the time they're born, our dreams begin of bright futures and Ivy Leagues and graduation caps giving way to success. From the very first page of kindergarten homework, some children define their academic careers. Anybody else think like early on, maybe even elementary school, or I gotta be the valedictorian? Oh, look at you guys. Oh my gosh. These 21 students have achieved their dream. Sarah Bruns from Clarkston High School heading to Whitworth with a perfect 4.0. Dylan Duntman from Coeur d'Alene High School leaving for Harvard in the fall. And Mallory Plaster, one of 3 valedictorians from Gonzaga Prep, who knew she'd end up at the top of her class.
And I just remember being excited to be in middle school and have letter grades, and I knew that I always wanted to be the best, and I always wanted to get the highest grades and to feel that satisfaction of knowing that I put my best self out there.
For many, elementary school is where that drive began.
We're working on multiples, and there's 100 of them, and they put it face down on your table, and then they say go, and you flip it up, you do it as fast as you can. I was the first one done, and I love that feeling, that competition, and knowing I was better.
So how did they get this way? How do they end up here? How much did your parents pushing you put you where you are? Surprisingly, few. Almost across the board, these students say their parents left them alone, trusted them to do the work.
I knew that a college education and working hard to receive one was the ultimate goal, and that was going to put me where I wanted to be in life.
If I had work to do, it would be well, you can go out, or you could get your work done. I don't think I was ever forced to stay in, but there was an implied, they judged me if I went out.
I was 15, 16, and I guess at that age I just wasn't taking it too seriously. I mean, I have a single mom, and my sister wasn't that great of an influence either.
Anybody else from single parent households? Bucking national statistics, only 2 of them said yes. But all 21 can share stories about long nights buried in books. Think about your hardest semester of high school and how much on average you studied per night. These brilliant minds certainly did not phone it in. On average, they study between 3 and 4 hours a night, balancing activities like cheerleading, volleyball, and martial arts.
Some days you do other things in the evening, then you go to sports, something else, and then you get home at 11 o'clock, and then you study for 3 hours. You get a social life, you get sleep, or you get school.
Yeah.
And you have to choose. And a lot of the times, all 3 suffer because you try to devote yourself to all 3.
I'm a 3-sport athlete, and so it kind of takes up my whole year, and I wish I had a job, I wish I had time, but I guess that's one of the things that I have given up in order to do everything else that I've wanted to do.
How many of you have jobs? Only 2 of the 21 work outside of school. Rachel Fricky works part-time at her family's veterinary clinic. Christian Cousins works 4 hours after school with the Boys and Girls Club in Coeur d'Alene. How many of you studied at home? All of them say they study at home. Most listen to music while they do. Almost none leave the TV on. But for some, the distractions are built into what they're studying.
Gonzaga Prep went to iPads this last year, and so having everything at your fingertips is really hard because you can't get rid of it in the other room because you have your science textbook and you're scrolling through looking at diagrams, but then you can access social media or Netflix.
But that's not all bad. While none of the students have ever paid a tutoring company for help in school, they all agree on Sarah from Clarkston's favorite study guide.
I use YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Seriously, there are so many videos.
There's a bunch of cat videos on YouTube. Regular videos. Turns out I'm looking in the wrong place.
I really concentrated on pre-cal, and I just looked up the specific thing unit that we were working on, and I found videos on there that helped me understand that better.
I started using it for AP World as a sophomore, and there's so many, every AP course, they have all these videos that just help you review the base concepts, and they just make it so easy to understand with these crazy cool graphics and everything.
More than half plan to major in science-related fields in college. Slightly less than half will stay in Idaho or Washington for their 4-year degrees. Only 3 consider themselves bilingual. 2 of them speak another language at home most of the time.
Well, my parents are immigrants from China, so they used to teach me a lot of Chinese text and literature at home.
Those of you who especially had this drive to have really high academic success, ever feel like you were giving up something to get that?
So I did track freshman and sophomore years, and it was just a really big time commitment, I guess. And so I felt like I couldn't do everything at once, and it stressed me out a lot. And so my junior year, I decided not to do track.
I had to give up baseball. I played baseball pretty much my whole life, but at the end of sophomore year, I realized that it was too time constraining between academics and debate, and I had to choose which would get me further in life.
I mean, if you think about it, do I want to be a great dancer, or do I want to be a great student? Where am I going to go with that?
Do they regret it? Not a single one. They knew at an early age the relationship between hard work and sacrifice. Now, the next chapter awaits. And despite perfect grades and flawless resumes, they're about to learn about the other sacrifices that come with higher education. How many of you are worried about the overall cost of college and how you're going to pay it off? And that is the eye-opener, the scary reality, not only for these students, but their parents as well. We'll explore that part of the story throughout the week. We'll tell you where these kids are going to college, and more importantly, how they're going to pay for it.
Wow, very exciting. And as you say, and we see in your story, it's not easy to get to the top of the class.
Yeah, they had to fight for this.
Yeah.
We have a couple of the students we want to profile. 2 of them will be the first in their family to go to college.
Wow.
So we will share their stories throughout this week as well.
A big first for their families.
Right.
Great story, Melissa. Thank you so much.